Hello, everybody on Facebook. This is You'll Be Blessed again. I'm here on Yale University's campus for the Yale National Initiative, and I just want to say thank you for everybody who's actually watched the first video. And I'm just so glad that you guys are enjoying it and that you guys are inspired by what's happening here. I'm actually here to drop another message. Just take a look at this beautiful scenery behind me. Just found this morning as we were walking through the campus on the way to our seminar on chemistry and cooking and so forth, and I just thought this was a great location to shoot the next video. While this is still on my brain right now, I'm at the university where the motto is light and truth, lux and veritas, or truth and light, and I'm here to drop some of that right now. I was introducing myself this morning to the rest of the teachers from around the country, and we had to talk a little bit about what we were going to be doing. So I'm going to tell you what my particular topic is going to be on. It is actually the first thing I want to do with cooking and chemistry is teach separation techniques. Some of you probably don't even care about that because you failed chemistry class. That's totally fine with me. You don't have to like chemistry, but I do expect you to get something out of this other than just chemistry. But the second thing, which was the most powerful thing about my introduction this morning, because God dropped it on my spirit before I introduced myself, and my heart was pumping and racing as I was trying to get this out, because I was like, oh my goodness, I can't believe you want me to say this, but I went out and said it. So one of the reasons why I believe God has me here is because he put in me this fascination with George Washington Carver. All right, and we all think we know who George Washington Carver is, but I guarantee you probably really don't understand who he is and the magnitude of what he's done. Let me try to get some light and actually just be still and know. All right, so the thing is, with cooking and chemistry, this was inspired from George Washington Carver. All right, and we know that there is a movement happening in the African American community called the Black Lives Matter movement. And at first I was kind of against it. I was like, but it's a real cry. It's a real cry and you can't ignore it. And one of the things I've learned from one of my new church, House of Glory, shout out to House of Glory Ministries. When people are oppressed, then the only way to freedom is to actually cry out to God. All right. And, I believe in that strongly. And I believe we're actually still in a season where, African Americans are being oppressed. And I'm here to offer a possible solution, divinely inspired by God, a possible solution. And I believe this is one of the things he wants me to walk out in the earth, okay? So George Washington Carver, yeah, he did the peanut and all that stuff, but he was an agricultural chemist that created inventions from food products, all right? And he had to do this in order to create an economy for all of the plants and the vegetables and the produce that was going to be planted in the South, because farmers did not want to plant it, all right? But these farmers were being oppressed economically, okay? They could not make enough money off of what they were growing, all right? And so George Washington Carver educated these farmers, and he transformed an entire economy, all right? Talk about Black Lives Matter. So in a society where black farmers, and white ones too, were primarily poor black farmers who were uneducated, granted, all right, had no way out of oppression, financial oppression. What did God do through a man in the earth? He used George Washington Carver, and it is written even on the American Chemical Society website that George Washington Carver was a man of God and he is a divine teacher. He was a great teacher. And so this is one of the reasons why I believe I'm here at Yale, is to actually tap into the legacy of what he's done into the earth through this cooking with chemistry seminar. All right. And so, this is what I believe has the answer to the Black Lives Matter movement. When the Israelites were enslaved, why were they enslaved? We knew Israel, as Christians, we know Israel is important. We knew the Israelites are important. But why were they enslaved? It's because the pharaohs forgot what Joseph had did. How do you just forget? How do you forget what Joseph did? Joseph was the key man who stewarded all the financial resources. He created a system to steward resources in Egypt, and he stewarded it in such a way that God blessed the entire generation of that came behind him, generations that came behind him, and they became fruitful and multiplied in number to the point where they outnumbered the Egyptians. All right? But yet the Israelites were still enslaved. And you know what? I believe that's what the situation we're in. You know, we know Black Lives Matter. We know Israeli lives matter. But we know Black Lives Matter. But I don't think what's happening is I think people are forgetting. And you're asking, why? How can they forget? They forgot about Joseph. They can forget about what MLK did. They can forget about what, you know, I'm just drawing a blank right now. They can forget about Charles R. Drew, you know, some of the famous people who came up with inventions in the medical field. You know, we do have a lot of impact, and we have a history of it. But just because you celebrate the history once a month doesn't necessarily mean people are going to remember how important Black life is. All right? And so what I think what needs to happen is that teachers, we need to actually be in a mode of teaching people how to create something meaningful. I think we've misplaced our creativity, because if Black lives really matter, and some of you might even hate on me for this, but the media that is governed by us, a lot of the music media is governed by African Americans. Yeah, we're making a lot of money in the media industry, but are we respected enough where people actually respect our lives? I want you to think about that. As entertainers, are we respected enough to where people actually think our lives matter? And the truth is, we're misusing our creativity. And so what am I trying to say? I'm saying, as a teacher who's trying to follow after, you know, a man of God, who's trying to follow after George Washington Carver, I believe our role as teachers is to actually equip a society of people to use their creativity and use creativity to overcome oppression. So I'm not saying that's the only answer, but creativity and teaching people how to use that can shift an entire economy out of oppression. It can shift an entire people group out of oppression. That's what George Washington Carver did as a man of God. He shifted people out. He shifted a society. How many educators are out there doing that? And I believe this is what God has called me to do. And if you're an educator watching this, then you need to challenge somebody else. You need to share this with somebody else. I'm being so serious right now, because this is why education in America is so under attack. It's under attack. All right. Americans have been cherished. The U.S. citizens have always been cherished for their creativity. All right. But we're not using our creativity to overcome oppression like we ought to. I mean, it's how he called the earth into existence. He created the earth. He created things out of the darkness and brought them into light. I mean, creativity is used to overcome darkness, is used to overcome oppression. So again, the light, the truth and the light and the truth that I'm presenting to you right now, educators, even if you're not an educator, people, you need to understand that if we just take our creativity and stop trying to entertain people and actually give them what they need, we can actually pull ourselves up out of oppression. We don't have to wait for a president. We don't have to wait for a governor or an elected official. We can pull ourselves up. George Washington Carver did it. Why can't I do it? I'm trying to find the camera. Why can't I do it? All right. Why can't somebody else do it? All right. So if this message is for you or somebody you know, you need to share this with somebody, because this is going to open up the door for heavenly revelation to overtake this earth. Education on earth as it is in heaven. That's my motto, people. When I became a teacher, God told me education on earth as it is in heaven. And if we are being properly educated, that means people are being freed. All right. So free somebody today. Share this video. Share what God wants to release in the earth. I'm just releasing the message. Somebody's going to catch this, and there's a generation of, I'm even going to prophesy this right now. God is raising up a generation of true teachers who are not going to teach what people are itching to hear, but they're going to actually teach the things that will actually bring freedom, that will awaken people to their true identities, and that they will no longer be enslaved. And they will demonstrate their desire to no longer be enslaved through their creativity. All right? So God bless you all. I love you. Again, share this video. YouTube channel coming soon. I love you. Have a great day.